Hi guys. My name is Isaac Obiya. I'm a phytomedicine researcher and practitioner here in Nigeria. I also happen to be the CEO for Maxo and Alex Herbals. Today I'll be talking to you about three plants, actually, three plants. One of them is cinchona plant, the other is Azadirachta indica, and the third one is Euphorbia hitta. Cinchona plant is popularly known as the quinine plant. Azadirachta indica is known as the dogoyaro plant, neem plant, and Euphorbia hitta is known as asthma plant. These plants, I'm going to talk about them because these plants were very useful. We did a lot of work with them during COVID. During COVID, people were looking for solutions, and we were in our labs working tirelessly to see if we can get something that can actually be useful in the treatment of COVID symptoms. And then three plants proved very useful. Most of those cases that were reported about people who had COVID, we gave them plants, gave them herbs, and then it became better. They were coming up with testimonies. Now, these are some of the plants that we used. Now, take a very close look at this plant. This is the neem plant, Azadirachta indica. I'm going to teach you some of the tricks we played with this plant, some of the methods we used with these plants that gave us results. This is Azadirachta indica, and this is Euphorbia hitta. You need to take a close look. Can you see Euphorbia hitta? You see the plant? This is Euphorbia hitta. This is what Euphorbia hitta looks like. It's got flowers in the middle. You can't miss it. This is Euphorbia hitta. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes. As I was saying, I'll talk briefly about Azadirachta indica, and then I'll explain to you scientifically why it was useful in treatment of COVID symptoms. To start with, Azadirachta indica is commonly known as neem, like I said, or Indian lilac. It's a tree in the mahogany family, the family known as Malvaceae. The taxonomists will understand my language. It is one of the species in the genus Azadirachta, and it's a native to the Indian subcontinent and most of the countries in Africa. So it's popular in India and it's popular in most of the countries in Africa. It is typically grown in tropical and subtropical region. Now, what are the medicinal uses of Azadirachta indica as the main plant? Number one, it nourishes the skin. I did a video earlier where I talked about the use of Azadirachta in the treatment of acne, of stretch marks, of aging. It has anti-aging property, this same plant. Now, it also useful as an antioxidant. It is used for detoxification. It helps improve immunity, this same plant. It treats fungal infection. It treats is a mosquito repellent, insect repellent. It treats wounds. It protects liver and kidney from damage. Is used in treatment of diabetes. This same plant, Azadirachta indica, and it has strong antiviral property. It has strong antiviral, or you can say strong antimicrobial property. Now, what are the bioactive compounds that are present? Because you see, plants have these healing properties because they contain bioactive compounds. Bioactive compounds are chemicals that are present in plants that confer on them their healing property. In Azadirachta indica, we have flavonoids, we have terpenoids, we have glycosides, we have antiviral compounds, we have nimbolide. There's a bioactive compound called nimbolide. We have ketamine, and we have azadirachtin. These are compounds that are able to regulate a lot of biological processes in vitro and in vivo. Now, the oil we obtain from this plant, we call it the neem oil, or the Azadirachta oil, contains fatty acids, antioxidants, and the antimicrobial compound. That means it is able to act, it inhibits the growth of microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So this helps the skin in a range of ways. Research has shown that these compounds helps to fight skin infections, helps to promote wound healing, and vigorously combats skin aging. That is Azadirachta indica. Now, I said earlier that these plants were very useful during COVID, and we used them for preparation of herbs that worked. But we're talking about COVID symptoms. First, we want to talk about the respiratory aspect. Most of the patients die because they are unable to breathe. Their airways are blocked. They are blocked with thick phlegm. They are blocked with thick mucus. The airways are inflamed and narrow. So these symptoms are very similar to the symptoms that asthma patients, bronchitis patients experience. Inflammation of the airways, swollen airways, narrowed airways, production of thick mucus. So we talked about asthma plant. Because we're targeting, they say it's incurable. Okay, let's target the symptoms. If we can clear the symptoms, the patient sleeps. So we use this plant, asthma plant. These plants, I've talked about this plant in some of my past videos, so you can check our YouTube channel and you see information about this particular plant, asthma plant. This asthma plant has expectorant property. Expectorant property. It's able to clear mucus of the airways. It has anti-inflammatory property. It's able to treat inflammation and relieve the inner lining of the airways that are inflamed, and then it helps to reduce the swelling. This way, it is able to allow the patients to breathe. So this was what we taught, and then we prepared this plant. We have a special preparation for this particular plant. So we prepared this plant. Now the next thing we thought about, after we have cleared the airways and the patient is breathing, how about the virus? And then we sat down and talked about viruses. You see, viruses are not like other microorganisms. Viruses are like hijackers. They invade a living normal cell and use those cells to multiply and produce other viruses like themselves. This is the way I would explain it to someone that is not in the sciences. I'm still going to talk to my brothers in the sciences. I'll speak their language. Now, viral invasion happens in 3 broad stages. Now, in all viruses, the first stage is initiation of infection. The next stage is replication and expression of the genome. And then the third stage is the release of the mature virus from the infected cells, you understand me, into the body. That's the virus has multiplied inside the host cell. It now releases itself. Now, how does this happen scientifically? Firstly, the viral protein binds the host cell. That means the virus enters into the body, it looks for the host cell. So the protein and the viral protein binds the host cell surface. Now, here they interact with what we call the receptors specific to them and that host cell. Now, once attached, the virus gains entry into the host cell. Now, conformational changes in the protein of the viral capsids lead to 1, the viral and the cellular membrane fusing. That is one way the virus gains entry into the host cell. Now, some DNA viruses can also infiltrate the host cell through receptor-mediated endocytosis. Those are 2 ways. I've explained 2 ways that COVID virus can enter into the host cell. I've broken it down scientifically. It's either it goes in through the viral and viral cellular membrane fusing, and then the virus penetrating the cell, or its DNA material penetrating the cell, or through the virus. I also said that the virus can do what? Can also penetrate the cell through receptor-mediated endocytosis. So these are 2 different ways. Now, when that happens, what happens next? The capsids of the virus degrades, releasing genomic info. That's the RNA, or in some cases, the DNA. Next, replication via 2 processes, either through transcription or through translation takes place. That's replication of the virus inside the host cell. Then after that happens, the viral protein and genome are now packed in new virus that now leave the host cell via the cell wall. Same way they came. So this is basically how viruses are able to replicate. So the COVID virus is not different. It also replicates same way. It has to enter a host cell and it has to replicate. So the way to stop a virus is to stop its replication, because the only way a virus can replicate is inside the host cell. So the next question is, what can stop the replication process inside the host cell? You can't stop the virus from getting in. It's going to get in. But how do you stop the replication process? Then we said zinc. If zinc can find its way into the host cell, zinc can truncate the viral replication process. So, but how can zinc enter into the cell? The cell is, remember your osmosis, diffusion, that's transport, active transport, passive transport. Then we thought that it cannot enter, zinc cannot enter into the cell. It can only enter into the cell if through passive transport, that is from lower concentration to higher concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Concentration inside the cell being higher than concentration outside, so there will be the osmotic pool. But osmosis can only take place when the cell membrane is permeable. So we thought that Cinchona, a strong anti-malaria plant, and Zadirata indica, another very strong, are able to permeate cell wall. It's been proven experimentally in the past. So we say, okay, if we give these patients Cinchona plus Azadirachta indica, two strong anti-malaria plants, it will permeate the cell wall. If it permeates the cell wall, it will stop viral replication. All the stories I've been talking about since about how the virus will enter into the cell, it will stop. If zinc can enter, it will stop it. So what we now did was, we did a special preparation through special methods. Don't do it yourself at home. If you're not an expert, don't do it yourself. Now, we combined Azadirachta and Cinchona and produced something that we believed could permeate the cell wall. And then we gave them Euphorbia hitta mixture as tea. So this cleared their airways and made sure they never choked, their airways were never blocked. And then a combination of this and Cinchona plant, we strongly believed, was responsible for what eventually gave them the relief. So this is how we used this plant during COVID. A lot of people were like, oh, there's no cure. Eventually, that was what we did. There was no magic. We used this. There are other plants we used, but we're just trying out things that are safe. And then we thank God that the COVID disease free today. So that is the little trick we played with these plants during COVID. We thank God for wisdom, and we pray for more wisdom. So, but if you want to really learn the method, you can chat me up. We can arrange free classes for you, and then you can learn how to use these plants should in case we have a future viral infections. So it was trial and error, but it worked. It's not by our power, it's not by our might. It was God, and it was God all the way for all the testimonies we had. And that's about that. We've talked enough about Azadirachta indica today. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you next time. God bless you.